think that's a very good question about data-centric and AI-based culture. Data-centric culture was already there, say around 10 years ago. But what has changed in recent times due to unprecedented situation of coronavirus, remote working, doing remote business is about the influence of AI. And many companies and industries are embracing into both AI and data-centric culture. These days, what we see is there are two trends. One is called an horizontal trend, where certain things are applicable for multiple industries. And the other one is called vertical trend, where things are applicable only for verticals in certain industries. Now, what I'll like to actually portray a couple of industries and say how things are going on in those areas. Let's first of all take the manufacturing area. They are investing a lot in terms of Industry 4.0, also building digital twins, which is basically digitally influencing a plant or an operational unit end to end. When we look into the second industry, which is financial industry, they're influencing a lot in the areas of front end and back end, both in the areas of private banking, say retail banking, wholesale banking. They're even using AI for fraud detection, also for customer facing initiatives, customer segmentations, and things like that. Let's take the third area of the industry, which is healthcare. AI is doing wonders in that area. They are actually using AI in a lot of drug research, and that has helped not only during COVID, but it's going to help beyond COVID in certain areas. And then finally coming into the fourth industry, which is about supply chain and linked with retail industry. In supply chain, we used to call a model which is called SCORE, the traditional supply chain operational reference model. But these days, with the influence of data and AI, we have transformed that model into what we call is a digital score. And the SCORE now stands for sense, collaborate, optimize, and respond. All of these steps are done through data-centric and AI-based algorithms. So yeah, in a nutshell, this has a lot of influence in different companies. Challenges that different companies face are manifold. And to describe the challenges, I would rather distinguish the two main areas: challenge for an enterprise-wide company and challenge for a startup company. So when we talk about enterprise-wide company, most of the challenges they faced will be in a couple of major distinct areas for them. Firstly, it will be about the big data. So handling the data, storing the data, and actually filtering the data for meaningful decision. That's their first challenge. Then when we move about the infrastructure, I think this kind of big oriented companies, they face a challenge about how to build their environment. There is a lot of debate about what should be on-site, on-premise, and what should be in the cloud. So I think that is a constant debate for these companies. And the third main area that enterprise-wide companies are facing with their big customer base is about security in AI world. And the security drives from the fact that when they expose the data, who will have access to the data, what they are going to do with the data, and more importantly, who should not have access to the data. I think these are some of the questions that enterprise-wide companies are facing these days. Now, if we look on the other side, which is about the startup companies, some of the challenges that they face are slightly different. So if it is a startup company and it is building its own, say, AI or data-driven product, first challenge that they face is about how to market that product. What is the minimum viable product in that situation? Because they have limited funding, but they have a big wish list, this is a big challenge, how to bring an AI or a data-oriented product that could sell for them. And the second challenge that they face is about retention of talent. Of course, this is something which is applicable for the enterprise-wide organization, but for a small organization or a startup, retention of talents, especially retention of a good data scientist, giving him or her equal opportunities to grow, is kind of a big challenge for startup companies. So these are some of the challenges that are prevalent in the industry these days, and the companies are working through it. I'll answer this question in two parts. So the first one is about investment. Yes, companies are investing a lot in the areas of digital, data, and artificial intelligence. It depends upon the company's vision and the size of the company, but definitely in last 5 years, most of the companies have invested a lot. In market study, what we see, there is a maturity model, which is a 4-layered maturity model. The first layer is about descriptive analytics. The second layer is about diagnostic analytics. Third one is about predictive analytics. And the fourth one is prospective analytics. Now, each company, based upon their vision and mission of the company, they should be placing themselves in a certain layer, and then they will try to move up the maturity curve. This actually drives the investment for them and also the long-term focus for them. Now, coming on to your second part of the question, which is about innovation. Personally, from my side, I'm actually not looking for any specific innovation as such, or any AI algorithm, or any usage of that. But what I'm looking for as innovation is a change of mindset. So innovation in mindset. So in a lot of areas, what we see is this kind of AI and data-driven project, even though the growth rate is through the agile process, they believe in moving in an agile way, but actually, when these decisions are being made or the investments are being viewed, then people from the top normally has the old waterfall mindset. And that needs an innovation. That needs a change, because this kind of projects, if they are being viewed in a 5-year horizon with a return on investment, cost benefit analytics, most of the cases, the initial investment or the initial drive is not going to happen. And I think that is what needs to innovate, a change in mindset. Predictive analytics is the third layer of the model that I have just said. It's about the third piece of the model and followed by the prospective analytics. So indeed, predictive analytics can do a lot of change in supply chain and logistic industry, especially in the areas where different manufacturing organizations have already invested and got good results. Those things needs to come in supply chain industry. And when we talk about the influence of predictive analytics, I will say there are 2 to 3 areas which could be a distinct advantage with the usage of predictive analytics. First of all, how do you predict your demand? Once you are able to analyze that and put a model against it, then prediction becomes easy. And once you are able to predict your demand, a logistic company who works hand in hand with a B2B or a B2C company can utilize their warehouse, their inventory, their manpower. So predicting the demand will help the company. The second one that I think will be influential is predicting the customer needs, which means which customer is going to buy which product at what point of time during the year. I think that helps a lot, both on the supply chain side and also on the retail side. And the third piece of the puzzle, where predictive analytics can really make inroads, is about predictive maintenance. This is a technique which has been used in manufacturing industries, not that much in supply chain industries yet. But when we talk about predictive maintenance, there are 2 or 3 areas in that. First of all, it will be about how to predict the fault that is going to occur in your supply chain system, or we say fault detection, so that you can take actions already. The second thing will be how to predict the life of your system. So how long is your system going to last, so that you can already take preventive actions on that. I think these are the areas where predictive analytics can really influence, benefited from that, like the way manufacturing has been benefited, also to some extent retail and other industries. I am Surajit Basak, Senior Director for UPS, and working from Europe portfolio, but also has some global input into that. And I will be presenting and joining the Velocity Data Analytics Summit that is being held on May 17th and 18th of this year. I'll be there in person in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and I'll hope to see you there. Thank you.